tell me, what's the Christian perspective on gay rights at this moment then? Like, what is like you mentioned that he had to be radical in that space. So I think I understand what radical in abortion would be. It'd be a national abortion ban, right?
Right. Yeah.
Is there a further than that? It would be
I would identify
public
with like abolitionism, not public execution, but criminalization.
Yeah.
And that's something we're gonna reach in 250 years. We're not ready to have that discussion yet. Like America isn't ready to have that discussion. I'm happy to have that
for
discussion.
The women who get abortions.
Yeah, so criminalization.
Or the doctors.
So it would be doctors, anybody involved. That would be the super radical stance. And I'm not even the most radical. I know some people who are like, oh, we can't even associate with Catholics or vote for them because they're not going to be hard enough on abortion. There's this weird, complicated theological thing that basically Catholics are a little less hard on abortion than hard on Protestants. But like, abortion rabbit hole goes deep. Like,
okay, yeah. But give me the gay rights version of that. Like, what's the gay rights radical position?
So,
or even actually start with the most, like, the position you'd be willing to accept, and then like where the furthest position would be. That would be a hard signal for you that this is a gangster. He's a good guy from your point of view.
So the position I'd be willing to accept would just be a ban on gay marriage. Just like it's not something that is or not a ban, but it's not legally recognized by the state anymore. So overturning Obergefell, which we're seeing. A recent poll. Obviously, polls are not always spot on, but a poll that came out, I think it was like yesterday, said that public approval for Obergefell has dropped to less than 55% among among Americans, which I thought was really interesting because I did not realize that we had advanced that much. I thought that was still a really controversial issue.
Yeah, I'd be careful with any poll.
Yeah, obviously.
On Supreme Court decisions, because usually the salience is about 0.001%. So you're literally asking 1,000 people and 10 people like, oh, I know what that is. I disapprove of it. Or they just go I don't like the word, and so I'm saying I oppose it.
No,
that's
of
course, be careful with that one.
I would love to be optimistic about it, but obviously, it's a poll. A poll's a poll.
Still, like even if the majority public was not in favor of gay marriage at this point, you believe the government should ban it. It should be like you can't be recognized by the state.
guess what the
would you be okay with civil arrangements where people can make civil contracts to share property and such?
It's more so like, if I'm understanding correctly, it's more so like the state's involvement in the practice of marriage in a sense.
No, the practice of gay marriage.
Right, sure, but both. Like, people are free to make the civil agreements that they want, but the government would not be like overseeing that anyway. So like the certain tax statuses that are given to married people, which is how this issue first came up, because originally homosexual people were just making kind of agreements, right, as you said, and then it became a Supreme Court case. We want to get married because it was something with taxes, right?
Well, the original, if I remember correctly, like we didn't even start having marriage licenses as a whole, like even for just like straight couples until like the 1920s.
Right.
Like it's kind of a new phenomenon in America. Like it's only in the last 100 years, and there could be an argument if you wanted to kind of push back against the gay marriage thing, and everything just kind of went into like straight couples, they get married through their church, and like there might be civil unions that happen with gay couples or whatever, but it's not this like everybody's getting these tax status benefits coming from this.
Yeah, and I think that's what gay marriage comes down to. So the position I accept is, okay, we're no longer going to acknowledge that. The position that would be completely ideal for me is same deal, where it's like not criminal. You would criminalize any government involvement. So if some like local government was deciding, we don't like that, so we're still going to recognize it, then that would be something that government was punished for, that local magistrate would be punished for. But like, that I feel like that's kind of as far as you can go. There's not really much more. Like I'm not gonna call for like just killing people because they're gay.
Okay. All right. Not going that far. All right. So like ending gay marriage, and as far as like the trans thing, I think like there's like universal center right agreement on children not being subject to gender transition stuff. I almost said therapies, just on the habit of how you read it all the time. I'm like, I don't know, that's not the right word. So I'm just going with stuff. But what about adults?
The more direct word, stuff.
Yeah, stuff. All that whateverness.
All that jazz.
Yeah, right.
So So my view with adults, I don't know, it's complicated. I struggle with this because I still think that there's absolutely moral wrong no matter how old you are. Mm-hmm. But obviously we're not just going to shut down people's right to believe. So like no thought crime. There's not ever going to be thought crime. But this kind of idea that we're gonna legalize all these drugs, all the drugs that are involved with this that have been proven to, you know, have all these side effects. I think those are a huge thing. Obviously among kids, like if you were caught even like introducing the agenda, like this is the radical position once again, like introducing this agenda, the LGBTQ stuff to kids, it would be like very severely prosecuted. You know, this is something I'm very concerned with, because if you look at, you know, especially suicide rates within that community, I think it's evil, like pure evil to involve a kid with that.
How do you distinguish that from speech? Sorry.
From
protected speech.
Right. So I think that introducing something like that to a child through like an organization, I think is very different. So, I mean, the first thing obviously would be schools, public, private. I don't care. You can't be introducing these things to the kids. So yeah, I see what you're saying. While it does seem like a ban on speech, but it's more. It's like it's a pushing an ideology that is like actively dangerous to people's lives.
Yeah, I mean, the steel man is obviously pedophilia, right? Is like as an analogy, right?
Yeah.
That pedophilia is something that itself is something we say like it's not speech, never can be speech. It doesn't matter if you get a group together who are saying we're the pedophiles together, like the whole society is going to condemn you, and we're going to not allow you to do.
I don't have much faith in that.
Yeah, it's called Epstein's Island. Is that what you're going to say? Yeah,
they're minor attracted persons, dude.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but that's still a minority position, and it's ostracized and thought like that. Social standing is one thing, but beyond that is like where you're involving the government and how you involve the government. That's a different sort of thing. Right?
And that's what I was going to ask is like, how do you distinguish the difference between like your cultural values versus what the state should do to impact the culture? So it's like. I would agree with you, especially on the cultural side, is like I think a lot of the veneration and adoration of like the LGBTQ community and like just like the pushing of the trans kind of propaganda and like the not even just like the tolerance is one thing, but like the almost forced acceptance that is coming, I think it's like incredibly damaging for the culture. But then where I get a little hairy is like, where should the state actually intervene in that? Like, what is the line of intervening in that? In the cultural aspect, like where do you distinguish that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what it is and what's going on. So like for something like transgenderism, where you actually end up getting a lot of pedophilia involved with that.
Yeah.
In fact, you know, the LGBTQ movement, at least the radical parts of it, as we were just joking about, has now accepted minor attracted persons as part of that. This is obviously a very controversial thing that has been talked about for a while, but the rates are simply just higher. And so I think that we would step in when it comes to involvement with kids. We're not going to prevent people from speaking. Like, you know, if you really want to have, you know, your thoughts, and you think a man can be a woman can be a man, whatever, you're more than welcome to preach that from the street corner. But when you begin to preach it to kids, and when I say that, I mean like actively in an organization with youth involved. So a private school. Obviously public school, summer camp, whatever it is. Some Boy Scouts. Yeah, right. Exactly.
The books they're supposed to read and kind of like, there's like a line.
The library book thing. All that jazz.
Yeah, right. Yeah, public library. Absolutely. Yeah. And even a private library where it's like in the kids section. It's like, that's where it begins to become something that's seriously dangerous. Like, you know, it's illegal to incite violence. I would argue that you're causing the same effect as inciting violence, you know.